And we're back. The Giants guys are back from our summer sabbatical. John Fennelly here of GiantsWire and the Giant Insider. And with me once again, back from his trip to Massachusetts, Mr. Craig Santucci of NYGiantsRush. Craig, welcome back.
Thank you, my friend. The Giants guys are back in the lab. And if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, there's some camp taking place somewhere in New Jersey with a lot of guys wearing blue jerseys.
Today was the first day of the full team practice. The rookies and some selected veterans have been there since Monday, but today is the first day of the official camp. They practiced today, and there was some not so good news coming out of practice. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm buckled in.
Sterling Shepard injured his thumb and had to go for x-rays. So we'll see how that goes.
On the first day?
On day one. Came off the field holding his hand. They took it for x-rays. Right now we haven't heard anything, but hopefully it's not something that's going to linger or keep him out too long.
I mean, I guess if you're looking for a rainbow, maybe it's good to happen now and not 4 weeks from now. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only positive to it. It happened right away. But here's a guy coming in, just signed a big contract. They want him to be their kind of de facto number one receiver, and he gets hurt the first day of practice. So that's not a good sign. But other than that, everything else went well. The heat subsided. It was so oppressive, the heat here on the East Coast the last week. This week the heat broke. It only got up to about 85, and, there's no humidity. So it was a good day to practice. That's all I can really say about that.
By the way, a broken thumb will definitely keep him out at least till preseason, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. You got to put a cast on it and everything else. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, what, 9 weeks? 6 weeks?
2 months, yeah.
Right? Gives him the last week of July and, 4 weeks of August. I mean,
it's an injury a wide receiver really can't afford to have.
And I'm sure it never heals great anyway, because the minute you take the cast off, you're pounding on it.
There's atrophy to deal with, then you got to build it back up. So if this is some kind of a tear or a break, that's not good. If it's a sprain, a mild sprain, maybe we could deal with that, or a jammed finger. Sometimes it could be a jammed finger. We don't know. We don't know what happened. I mean, the Giants don't give a lot of details right away. So it just happened today, so we'll see what happens. But that aside, camp is ready to go, and everybody was reported on time. Everybody is signed. Nobody is holding out. There's very few injuries other than the one I just told you about. Jabril Peppers had cramps, but that's normal first day. You know that.
Yeah.
Especially in the summer. Yesterday, I had a conversation with Amani Toomer.
Okay.
And we talked about a few things. He's a great guy, and he works for MSG now, and he does the the post game.
Okay.
On MSG after the Giants games. And, he was a little surprised. We talked about the draft, and he asked me what I thought. And I told him my stand in line of how they mismanaged it. I thought he was going to toe the company line, but he didn't. And he said, I really agree with that. He says, how do you pass on Dwayne Haskins for Daniel Jones? That's what he says to me. And I said, okay. I said, I was thinking more along the lines of Josh Allen. And he says, no. He says, I'm a Michigan guy. And that's what he said. So, he went to Michigan.
Yep.
And, I have family that went to Michigan. So I watched their games too. And they play Ohio State every year. And Haskins tore Michigan a brand new one every time.
Sure.
I mean, he was sensational. I mean, this was the biggest game he had all year. Every year was the biggest game he had. But, I think he only played him twice, but, whatever. But he was shocked. And then he has a personal connection with Haskins because Haskins, as a kid, went to Amani Tuma's camp, football camp. So he knows it for a long time.
Which, by the way, kind of, and I don't mean to be disrespectful because I've actually had 2 interviews with Toomer over the years.
Right.
And I like him a lot. Good guy, right?
Right.
But this specific conversation that you're recalling just sounds a little too personal. Like it's, hey, I got a connection to the kid. Hey, I've seen the kid tear my team apart. Like that doesn't mean anything but the fact that he likes him because he knows
that's the way
firsthand.
People talk to me, Craig. They open up. When I talk to people, it's like they're talking to their psychiatrist.
There you go. Maybe you need your own show, like a TV show.
No, I don't need that. No, I'm like the Joe Franklin of Giants podcasts. You remember Joe Franklin?
I do remember him, and I will tell you that that's a pretty good analogy, and so we might have to call you Joe instead of John.
Yeah, Joe Franklin used to have every crazy person roaming the streets of New York on his show. He had some guy who did vaudeville, 60 years ago. He'd pull the guy out of an old age home and then put him on his show, and the guy didn't even know where he was.
Well,
great entertainment.
I hope the Giants draft knows where they are because they're going to be called upon to step up, just like last year's draft was. Like this team is now built on these 2-year drafts because we've always been thin on depth. So these players are going to get called upon to impress out of the gate.
Yeah, these guys are going to play. I mean, they drafted 10 guys. Now, I don't know if 10 rookies are going to make the team. It's going to be a pretty tough assignment for them to make the team. Plus, you're going to have some walk-ons that are going to make the team. So it's a little difficult. I mean, they've already distanced themselves from a couple of guys they said earlier on, like Eric Dungy from Syracuse. They waived him. He was hurt, but they waived him. So that experiment is by the wayside. They've already got this kid Alex Wesley on PUP, this kid from Northern Colorado, speedster, wide receiver. So slowly, they got their 89. I think they have 89 guys, and Wesley makes 90. So he's on active PUP, so they got to keep him on the 90. But they have 89 guys, and slowly, it's all one cut now. They don't cut down to 75 and then go to 53. They just go from 90 to 53. That's the final cut. So what teams do now is they kind of like weed everybody out, as the summer goes along, so that they don't have that massive, purge come September. Like you see on Hard Knocks, for the people out there who don't know.
Yep.
Coach calls you in. You got to bring all your stuff. You used to have to bring your playbook. Now it's on a tablet, a Microsoft tablet. You got to bring your tablet. You sit down. The coach says, he's sorry, didn't work out. Stay in shape. You know the story.
Yeah, a sad story that's made for TV.
Right, and sometimes I think in some of these, with some of these NFL teams, they just have some flunky go down and tell the guy to get out.
Yeah,
you don't even get to see the coach. Just take your stuff and go. We'll call you.
I mean, I liked the move with Dungy. I know he was hurt, but I like the thought of having that extra tight end, running back, quarterback, kind of like the Saints do.
Yep.
I thought it was a good move. I don't know if they'll bring him back once he's healthy, but that would be really a pretty neat addition to the Giants if they had that role of somebody that could come in, take 5 snaps, run a linebacker over, catch a ball out of the backfield. Like I was kind of excited about that hybrid role that Dungy was going to fill. So maybe he gets healthy and they bring him back.
Yeah, I mean the same thing. That's what I said. Like guys who are on the roster bubble. I took 4 guys. I'll let you guess who they are who are on the roster bubble, in my opinion. Let's
veterans or just in general on the roster?
Some of them are in the league a couple of years. Some of them are veterans.
All right, so I got to guess 4 guys. Okay. I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say Tomlinson.
No, not him.
Okay. I'm going to say, are they starters?
One guy was last year, but he's not going to be a starter this year.
Martin?
Yep, that's the first one.
Okay. Okay, so Martin is 1, and then bubble guys. So if I'm going down the lineman, and then I'm coming back around, wide receiver, Fowler.
No.
Okay. Give me a hint. Offense or defense?
The next 3 are on offense.
Oh, that's right. That's where. All right, so I'm on the right side of the ball.
Right.
I mean, I know you like Shepard, the other Shepard.
No. I don't think, he's not really a guy that interested me.
Okay. All right, so definitely Martin. Oh, Ellison.
Close.
Oh. Well, it can't be Ingram, can it?
No.
Oh, all right. So Ingram, who's our third string tight end?
Simonson.
So that's right, Simonson. Oh my God, I was drawing a blank.
Yeah.
All right, so Simonson, Martin. You said no Fowler, no Shepard.
Right.
What about the running back they brought in? What's it, Rod Smith?
No.
Nope.
But you're close.
Oh, Laletta.
Well, Lena is the other one, and then you were just close with the fourth one.
Oh, what did I say? I said Rod Smith. So wait, Paul Perkins.
Nope.
What?
No.
Killing me. Is it a running back?
Yeah.
Gallman?
Nope. He's a fullback, this guy.
Oh, Penny?
Yeah. Those are the 4 guys. So they pressed me to write this, and I really couldn't find 4 guys, so I made 4 guys up.
Well, yeah, you just made me struggle through the same
Yeah,
process.
so people read that and they're like, "This guy, what is this guy writing about? Why would you even write an article like that? Because they make you write them."
Yeah, and then you made me do it too.
Right.
You wanted me to go through the same page.
We go through this all the time. You have to write certain types of articles. It's straight through the silo. Every site has to do it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
So you have to write articles like this, and you're like, well, I don't think we really have 4 guys, but 4 guys that anybody knows, and I don't think a lot of people know half of the 2 or 4 of those guys that I just mentioned. So.
Well, yeah, Simonson, he had that great game against Chicago where he basically, shut down Khalil Mack, and then he didn't really get utilized that much the rest of the season. Martin, who people will know if you're a Giant fan, but he started the year off atrocious. I mean, he had one of the worst beginnings to a season I've seen in a long time.
And he was the guy they brought in to help the other guys acclimate to the defense because he had played in it before.
Yeah, from Arizona's Betcher system. Yeah, and I get it. It all makes sense. I guess kind of be a torch passer. I guess the word would be, but he was terrible in the beginning of the season. He could not set the edge. If if the running back literally stopped and told him where to go. So yeah, I mean he did have a decent, December. He kind of figured it out to some degree, but I can see the Martin thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the writing's on the wall. If they kept him, that would be a total scholarship, from Betcher.
Oh yeah.
I think the 4 guys. I mean, Penny, but I don't know. Maybe they don't play with a fullback. I don't know. Unless Rod
Smith.
Smith.
Brought that guy Rod Smith in.
Yeah.
And they like him on special teams. And if you're gonna have him backing up, he's a big guy. He's like 6'2", 240.
Yeah.
So he's like a fullback size. So why do you need Penny if you got this guy?
Agreed.
You have so many other areas on the roster. You're gonna have to try to carry an extra offensive lineman or an extra defensive back.
Ellison could play fullback too.
That's another thing, right? He could play that H-back. So
yeah. I mean, Ellison's a little overpaid. I'm surprised they didn't restructure him. But
who uses a fullback anyway?
I'd have to actually look that up because it's not a position that a lot of teams are using.
Right. It's something that's it's almost like a luxury now.
Yeah, they just you only get so many touches, and you've got change of pace backs, and the fullback usually just doesn't make the cut. unless he's just a really good, pass catcher. Sometimes you get those fullbacks that can catch out of the backfield. But yeah, the fullback's kind of a novelty at this point.
It's an antiquated position. So anyway, just for those people out there, I was with Fansided, G-Men HQ. I'm no longer with them. That didn't work out. So now I'm back with GiantsWire on USA Today. So that's our programming update.
And me, I'm still here.
And you're still here. So GiantsWire is really like the biggest, I don't want to say blog, but Giants news source on the internet. I mean, this 3 million views a month.
No, you guys turn out great stuff. No doubt.
They really, they help you. USA Today really pumps it out there. So with Fansided, we were struggling. To get readers. It was very difficult. The type of articles, they don't really want newsy stuff. They want lists. They want...
it's a Bleacher Report model.
Yeah, kind of. The stuff that I don't really do very well. Yeah,
well, you just challenged me on four...
Yeah, that's a terrible article. I hated writing it. Half of the stuff that people, they start emailing you and sending you Twitter messages that you're an idiot.
Yeah, well,
you're better than this, John. No kidding, I'm better than this.
I hate to tell you, that's going to happen regardless of what you write or who you write for.
I know. It happens all the time. But it's just silly that, I have to go. Why can't I just write, newsy stuff, break some stories? I have to write these, idiotic things, these clickbait type of articles that, you have to make half of the stuff up. It's a very, your argument is very thin.
Well, let me ask you this. If you had your way right now to write anything you want, what's the story right now that needs to be written or is being written? Today's the opening of camp. You usually, depending on what team you are, you either have drama or you don't, or drama builds as it goes along. Like we just found out that our number one receiver has a thumb issue. But that's
number one.
Yes. But putting that aside, because that's something that just occurred during, whatever they were doing, 7-on-7s or some type of drill. Beside that, what's on the docket? What's the story kind of bubbling up that people are talking about or needs to be discussed?
Okay, I'll tell you what we're going to write when I get off this show. There's 3 ideas. Lorenzo Carter, an animal today. Crazy. Okay, in the first practice. Okay. He said he was going to dominate. He went right out and did it. Okay, Eli, sharp. Daniel Jones, not so sharp. Day 1.
Okay.
Jabril Peppers, in his presser today, is feeling disrespected and overlooked by the trade. He's got a chip. He's got a chip on his shoulder now. So really? So now you got a little traction. Okay, now I can go. I don't know who's going to take. I'll take one of those stories. Somebody will take the other 2, and because we have people that write at night, and when that hits tomorrow, we're going to already have 3 items that nobody else has.
So, all right.
I don't think anyway.
Let's go back for a second. So Carter, I am a fan. They brought him along slowly, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, whether it was...
Well, he actually brought himself along slowly.
Well, that's where I was kind of go. Whether it was playbook related or maybe he was being a little apprehensive. Either way, you could see the kid can rush the passer, and, the Giants definitely need a pass rush. So Zoe Carter is primed to start, 60, 70% of the snaps, and, automatically, kind of propel himself into, the limelight as the best linebacker, on the Giants. He has that opportunity.
Yes, he does.
And then on the other side, which is also another young player, which is
Well, let's talk about Carter for a second.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Let's bring back the conversation to Carter, which
I don't know if everybody knows his history. He was one of the best high school players in America when he went to Georgia, and when he got to Georgia, he kind of flatlined. Had a couple of good games, a couple of bad games, and he was a first round talent who the Giants got in the third round by the time he came out. And a lot of teams kind of soured on him, say, well, he's not living up to his potential. I have a theory that he was still growing into his body. And you know how that is. Yep. When a guy is just filling out, just learning what his body can do, and he's still growing. And I think he's still growing. Okay, 22 years old. He's still growing, and he came in, and he's got a little more weight on him now. And I think he's got the speed, and now he's got the power. So I think he's going to be able to physically take on tackles, offensive tackles, that is, and he's going to also be able to blow by him. So that's a good skill set to have. Yeah, so I think that he's finally getting there.
And and he did have a hip injury last year, so that kind of slowed him down a bit.
And he didn't start. I think he only started a few games.
Yeah, he started one game. He missed another with a hip injury, but he was he's very consistent contributor. He averaged. Let me see here. He averaged just under 30 snaps a game. Finished with 40 tackles, 30 solo, 4 sacks. I mean, the kid's dynamic, and he's fast, and he's got heart, and believe it or not, he likes what he does. I mean, he likes football. There's a great video out there, probably on YouTube, of him being mic'd up, and he's very fun.
Mic'd up with the Giants, or
yes, with the Giants. Oh, okay. With the Giants, he's mic'd up, and he's a fun player to listen to. He's a kid in the candy store. He's having fun. He's talking to his teammates, offense, defense. So I think this year he's going to have a breakout year, and I think he'll also kind of challenge our rookie from Old Dominion to keep up the pace. If X-Man starts or gets 30, 40 snaps a game, I think the two of them together could be quite dynamic.
Oh yeah, and Marcus Golden also. It's another guy. He's in great shape.
A little bit of an anomaly because he's coming off an injury.
Well, he's not. Last year he was coming off an injury last year.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yep, 2 years ago.
What they did, I mean, Betcher was obviously gone. Steve Wilkes became the head coach. I mean, he's a one and done, right?
Yeah. And change of 4-3, right?
They put him at a defensive end.
Yep.
So that's not his position.
Well, and so also we've talked about it before. He had a knee injury in 2017.
Right.
You're never fully healthy in 2018.
That's a 2-year recovery. Really.
Yep. So yeah, he came along a little slowly, so he could pop right out of the box and make a huge impact. Or you go the other way. He's one of these guys that's a wait and see what happens. But as you alluded to, he looks like he's ready to play. He's in good shape.
Well, he's got a 1-year contract, so it's a show-me deal, and he knows he's got to play well. So, he can't take anything for granted. I don't think he is. From what I've seen, I haven't met him or anything yet, but I saw an interview with him, and he looks like he's ready to play. He's focused. They're only bringing in guys that are focused.
I hope so, because they brought Martin in, and he wasn't focused at all.
No. Yeah, the reason why they brought him in, I mean, he was the low-hanging fruit. He knew Betcher's system. They needed guys that could run it. They brought him in. Of course, he didn't do that well, but, as we said before, but he may not even be there this year. Who knows?
Yeah, he was focused on the buffet.
Right. They are looking for guys that are focused, guys that are hungry, and guys that are team-oriented, and the perfect example. Again today, in his press conference, Saquon Barkley. This guy is a leader. He is a natural leader. He carries himself like a man.
Yeah, he's the real deal, and he gets it.
Yep.
He in 1 year as a pro, he's learned how to balance the superstardom. He's got a wife or a girlfriend. He's got a daughter.
Yep.
He's got his contract. He's buying his mom a house. He's breaking records. Whatever it is, he's got his head screwed on straight. You hope it stays that way, but you do get a good vibe that this guy loves football. He's very thankful that the Giants drafted him, and it's great that the Giants found such a character guy.
Right. Shermer said today that Barkley is a generational spirit. So, to me, that's a guy that spans, all times, generations. And he is. You watch him on the field. You watch him on the sideline. He's always talking to people, always trying to get them back into the game, keeping their head in the game. He tried to keep Beckham's head in the game. I mean, it should have been the other way around, no? But it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. And he does that. And this year, he's got more juice. He's got more experience. So he's the kind of guy that he's going to be basically running that team. It's his team. It's his team. They know it, too. He even said, he says, he doesn't care how many yards he gets. He wants to win. He says, the object is to win. If I get 1,500 yards, 3,000, what's the difference if we don't win?
Yep.
And that's the kind of guy you want on your team.
It is the kind of guy you want. And, you can debate the Sam Darnold thing that you're blue in the face. That's water under the bridge.
Let me ask you this. If you went up to Lawrence Taylor in the middle of a season and say, hey, LT, you got 12 sacks, you know what he would say? So?
Yeah. I'm working on the next one.
So what?
Yep. Yeah.
He didn't care. He didn't look at numbers. He just went out there and burned it, man. He just went out there and, well, you know what he did.
Yeah. Well, for anybody who doesn't know, he did everything, right?
He just wanted to win so bad.
Yep, and yeah, so I mean, it is his team. You're in a good spot. Some of these rookies have got somebody to lean on with his on the field and off the field. And that's the other thing, is that off the field, they've got a guy to model themselves after, It's like, Beckham's a superstar, so international superstar. These guys are pining away for the parties that he's at or the people he's hanging with. Barkley comes in super grounded and family oriented. Not saying that Beckham's not, but he wears his heart on his sleeve, and it says, family, football, whatever it is, God, whatever it is. Yeah. And the other guys are going to follow suit, and I think the Giants are better off for it.
That's correct. I agree. Next topic, Eli Manning. Well, let's start with this. Kurt Warner was at the facility today with NFL Network.
Okay.
And the perfect guy to talk about the Giants quarterback situation because he was in it 16 years ago, 15 years ago. Yep. He was the Eli Manning role 15 years ago. And Eli was in the Daniel Jones role. But what Warner said, he said, this time around, the Giants will give Eli more flexibility than they gave me. They'll see how the season goes. He said, when I was there, I'm always looking back to see when Tom Coughlin was going to make the switch. And what happened was they were 5-3, then they lost the game to go to 5-4. And he said, I knew that was it. I was coming out. I knew I was only there temporarily. He says, with Eli, he's got to know, he's going to be looking over his shoulder every game. He's got to win. If he's not winning, he knows he's coming out. But he says he's going to have a little more flexibility. They're going to give him probably a little more rope. But I kind of disagree with that. I mean, I think if the Giants go 0-3, they may make the switch right there. Because Shermer said today, Daniel Jones is going to be full steam ahead. And then, of course, he goes out and, Eli outplays him big time today. But that's just one day.
Yeah. And also, too, I understand where you're coming from. I mean, 0-3. If it's 0-3 and he goes 15 for 30 with 180 yards, yeah, okay. But if he's throwing for 290 yards and 2 touchdowns and they're 0-3, I'm not yanking the guy. That means there's the problem somewhere else.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They're going to actually. That's what Warner was saying. He says he thinks they're just going to really take a good look at it. It's going to be the right time. It's just not going to be. Well, what happened in 2004? The Giants were 5-4. Okay, you got 7 games to go, right? You still have a shot at the playoffs, but Coughlin said, you know what? We're going to have to build for the future right now. So he took Warner out, put Eli in. They lost 6 games in a row. They finished 6-10. So, do you want to do that? You can't really afford to do that this year. Really can't afford to have another 6-10 season, 5-11 season.
No, listen, the fan base is already, fighting and they're just negative and they're going at each other. I don't know what another losing season would do. They might burn that place down.
I know what's going to happen if they go 5-11. They're going to be at the top of the draft again. And you know what's at the top of the draft next year? Quarterbacks.
Yeah. So that would just be a trade out and collect picks type of move.
Yeah, unless they don't like what they see out of Jones.
As much as listen, I love.
That's a crazy thing to say. I mean, the guy hasn't played at all yet. But
that's what I'm saying. I love Fromm and I love Herbert. But there's just no way. I mean, what Arizona did this year is in a complete anomaly in the NFL. To draft Rosen, trade Rosen, and draft Mighty Mouse. I mean, it's just absolutely unheard of for the Giants to go if Eli bombs and then Jones comes in and he bombs, for them to go out and get another quarterback back to back. That would be a history-setting move. I don't see that ever happening. And the way the Giants are so consistent and very conservative, I can't see them not giving Jones 3 years to make it happen. I'm just sorry to say that.
Yeah,
but
you're right.
He's going to get a leash because it's the Giants. It's not Arizona. It's not Miami. They're going to give the kid a leash, and they're going to say, hey, all our quarterbacks come along slow. No difference.
No, I agree. So it's going to be a very interesting year. And, Warner also said there's only one way to learn, and that's by playing. He said you could stand there and watch all you want. You could practice all you want. He says you got to have game experience. And he said the Giants are going to probably have to give Jones game experience at some point this year if they want to move forward with him. I know that in Kansas City, I don't know if Mahomes, what did he play, 1 game as a rookie? I think it was 1 game, if at all. And then they brought him, he was the starter next year. But, that's a model that they could follow this year.
All right, I gotta break in to your commentary with a hot topic, and you're hearing it first here on the Giants, guys. You're hearing it right now. Sterling Shepard has a fractured thumb.
Oh God. Okay.
And he is, out for the immediate future.
Yeah, he is going to. What's unfortunate about that? You can't put him on PUP. Can't put him on the PUP list. Once they practice, they can't be put on the physically unable to perform list. So they won't do anything with him right now. But he's going to have to go on, short-term IR. Right?
Yeah. So, 6 minutes ago, NFL report, fractured thumb. They said they're going to, of course, evaluate it on a week-to-week basis. But, you're looking at a minimum of 4 weeks. Minimum of 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to go into the regular season.
Well, that's just, I hate to say it, but that just sucks.
Yeah, and, every team has an injury like this almost every year. You see a guy get hurt, and some guys get hurt in minicamp and in OTAs, But, that's the nature of the game. I mean, guys get hurt. So that's a shame. That's a shame.
He was the guy you just didn't need it to happen to,
Yeah, he's a key guy coming into the season.
It
Absolutely.
just creates a dumpster fire for the Giants now, because
Yeah.
now you got guys that wouldn't make the team are going to make the team, and it's one less weapon for Eli. I mean, we were in desperate need of offensive weapons and playmakers, and now you lose one for
Mhm.
4 to 6 weeks. It's just, man, when it rains, it pours.
So this is what I see happening. I don't see him. I think he goes on IR when the season starts, and he doesn't come back. You don't see him until week 8.
Oh, you're kidding! Don't say it. It's blasphemy.
That's what has to happen. Because you can't let him. You can't carry a guy that's not going to play on your active roster, for more than a week or two. I mean, you're allowed to do it anything you want, but I'm just saying you're playing with 52 guys for the first month if you do that. So they may do it. Who knows? But like we said, a thumb, a fracture. It's got to be set naturally. It's got to be in a cast, and of course that's what 4 to 6 weeks. Then that comes off. Then here's a guy who makes a living with his hands. Looking at another 2-3 weeks after that. So do the math.
Yeah, that's just terrible news.
It is. It just sucks. It's terrible. Yeah. It's what happens. Every team has an injury like that.
Well,
Just
because
about anyway.
now you're just thinking like, all right, Ingram, you're going to have to really toe the load. And then in the back of your mind, there's this little voice that says, he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy himself. I was on a radio show this week in Syracuse. I've been doing a lot of work, Craig. You've been out vacationing, and I've been doing a lot of work.
I apologize, my friend. You know what I mean? I needed some time away, but but you were working, so that's why the Giants guys are what they are. There's always a scoop to be had.
And that's another thing. I'll be on in Syracuse every Tuesday at 4:30 on 1260 The Score. I have a residency there.
Look at you! Look at you!
And that's the first radio show I'm going to do. I'm going to do about 2 or 3 more around the country. I got a couple of emails. I don't know why people want to talk to me. I have no idea.
They don't. They want me.
Yeah, I know. I tell them, got to call Craig. Calling the wrong guy.
You're supposed to bring me with you. That's how this Giants guys thing works.
I know. But it just so happened this kid, I knew him from Elite Sports, and he was doing Jet stuff, and he just sent me an email and said, "Oh, I want you to do this." And then yesterday, MSG got in touch with me and said, "Oh, Amani wants to come on." Actually, it was supposed to be Bob Papa, and Bob couldn't make it, so they put Amani on, and he was happy to come on. So it was just a phone call, an interview. We just shot the breeze, and it's basically to promote the Giants training camp live that MSG does after every training camp session. I think it's on at 4:30, 6:30. I forget when it's on. But it's on Monday through Thursday, so it's going to be on tonight. And then if you have MSG networks, tune into that.
Who else is on the show? O'Hara, too?
O'Hara, Deal, Paul Dottino, our good friend, Madeline Burke, Schmilk, Victor Cruz, Amani.
Okay.
Yeah, they have a rotating cast there. And, of course, they show you highlights. This is MSG Networks, the Nixon Rangers Network, for everybody who's listening. I don't know if anybody outside of New York has that. I know you probably have it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what they do, MSG, is they do this during training camp, and then they have Giant shows. Bob does a whole bunch of Giant shows. Giants Chronicles and Giants...
Most people are streaming that, though.
Access Blue or something like that. He does that also, and he does a lot of stuff.
I think most people are streaming that now.
Yeah, you could stream it too. That's a good point. Yeah, on Giants.com. They're probably on Giants.com or MSGNetworks.com. Yeah, for anybody who wants to watch that.
That's what I usually do. I pull out the tablet and and fire it up. So.
Oh, Fiegels is on there too. I forgot to mention him.
Well, that's a pretty big crew.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the show. It's really, if you're a Giant fan, you love it. It's a half-hour show that goes by in 5 minutes.
Yeah, so whatever you do, you listen to the Giants guys first,
Right,
then all the rest of this other stuff.
right. So I probably will have on GiantsWire on USA Today. I probably this year will have a lot of those guys calling me to do interviews because they want to promote that show.
Well,
They're very
why
good at
don't we get
promoting
them on the Giants guys?
Yeah, MSG Network. Yeah, going to have them call into this.
Yes, there we
Yeah.
go. Now we're talking.
I'm not sure. Paul Dottino has always promised me to come on. David Deal always. O'Hara, guys that I've known for a long time. So it's good to have connections. But
Yeah, no doubt. Who else? So Eli looked good.
Daniel Jones, not so much.
You know,
No, not so
and you
much.
said Peppers has a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, he's upset. Let me go to. Did I get his? I got his. What do you call it today? Excuse me. I got his transcript today. But he's obviously he was the throw-in on that Beckham trade. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they were a little. I would be upset too. People are talking about the Giants didn't get enough back, and they got plenty back. They ended up getting Dexter Lawrence out of the trade, Zimenez, Peppers, and just think about, starting next year, $15 million in cap space for the next 4 years, each of the next 4 years. You know how many guys you could sign with $15 million? One really, really good one, or maybe 3 decent ones. Think about that. Think about how many players that will equate to.
Free agency this year is a little bit thin on talent, though.
Yeah, but you can extend another player.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You could use that money in different ways. It's to me, it's like a Trojan horse. It just never stops. And this is for one guy who hasn't played a full season in 3 years.
Who, Peppers?
No, Beckham.
Oh, Beckham. Sorry. Yeah. Well, look, as far if it's good, fodder for Peppers and he's gonna wear a chip on his shoulder because of it, then so be it. You know what I mean? Like I don't see it. I look like the guy went from the worst market in the NFL to the best market in the NFL. He's gonna get endorsements. He's gonna play on a big time defense that Betcher's gonna kind of customize. Like regardless of him feeling disrespected or not getting the package that he wanted. I mean, I don't see it. I just know that he's got to come here. He's got to play. A lot of people loved Collins. He's got big shoes to fill, but he has the talent to do it. But now he's got to put it together because his years in Cleveland were okay. Not bad, not great. They were okay. I'm hoping the guy comes in here, puts the pedal in the metal, and he, puts Collins in the rearview mirror.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were looking to sign safeties this week, and they passed on both of them. It was Trey Boston and Jonathan Cyprien. They came in for workouts, and the Giants decided to pass. I don't know why those two guys are still unsigned anyway at this point in the year. Do you?
No, but it's basically a sign that tells you there's something else going on.
Or they don't like any of the offers they got. Sometimes they don't want to play for. They think if they hold that a little longer, they'll get more money.
But there's two sides to every story. They're not getting the money for a reason.
Well, Cyprien's coming off a knee injury, and Boston's bounced around 3-4 teams already. So, but he had a good year. The last 2 years he played very well. Arizona, and I forget where he was. He started with Carolina. I thought it was San Diego, and Arizona. He played. I think he had 79 tackles each of the last 2 years. That's not bad.
No.
Fairly productive. So I thought they would sign. We're going to look at him and sign him earlier this year, and they signed Bethea instead. So that's interesting.
Right? Well, I got high hopes for him. So
Bethea?
Yeah.
He's only 35. I know he's just starting to blossom.
I still have high hopes for him.
Yeah. Well, they have some safeties that they're hoping. They have so many options in the secondary going into this camp. I think that's the real interesting thing, how that defense, how that back seven, front seven, and back, how all of that's going to work. because I see this defense going 5 defensive backs 60% of the snaps or more. Don't you?
5 DBs?
Yeah.
Like the nickel?
Yeah. At least.
If you look across the NFL, it's a trend that they play more nickel more than they ever have. The Giants have 3 stellar corners, that they could probably slot one of them in on the nickel. They've got enough talent on the back end to play dime. I mean, I don't know if they would, but
that's a big ask. But yeah.
Yeah, but with Beal and Love and Ballantyne and Jenkins and who am I missing? Oh, Baker. You've got enough guys talent-wise that you're definitely going to play a large portion of the snaps on nickel. And again, if needed, they're not slipping too far down when they add a dime in, because you may turn out with that Love, Baker, and Beal are all starting caliber DBs.
Mm-hmm.
So they may get him, you might want to put him on the field, get him in the game. So they may go to a lot of nickel and dime. And if they decide to trade Jenkins or not bring him back next year, I mean, you'll still have Baker, Love, and Beal on the field at one time.
Yeah. And, you have Peppers out there. He's not going to come off the field. And Peppers is going to play a good 95% of the snaps, maybe more. Bethea, it can still play that many snaps. He's the kind of guy they want out there to kind of put some semblance to order, get everybody lined up. So you're looking at the safeties playing the majority of the game. So now you're just looking at the other 3 positions. Alternate. Jenkins isn't going to come off the field if he doesn't have to. So now you're just looking at 5 or 6 guys vying for those other 2 positions, that slot corner and the other far out corner, right?
Yeah, it depends on how versatile Baker, Love are.
Yeah.
I didn't watch enough of Baker in college to know if he's just a traditional corner or not. But I was pretty sure that I thought it was Baker. He might have played some nickel in college. I think Beal was strictly a corner. So, and then you've got Haley and Love, and I mean, I don't know, like the way they drafted.
They also drafted that kid Corey Ballantyne.
And Ballantyne. So yeah, they're stocked back there. It just, we haven't had this many quality DBs in a long time, and we passed up on pass rush. So, you got to protect the best you can. And maybe we strike lightning in a bottle with Carter and the X-Man, because we don't know what to expect out of those guys. So, right. They're a safety blanket to have that many DBs. So, it will be interesting. At some point, though, to answer your original question, the nickel should be outplayed than your base defense. There's no doubt that at some point in the season, you're playing more nickel than you are base.
So when you're playing nickel, I've been talking this over with people. Okay, let's say you're playing nickel. And who's in the front? Who are the linebackers that stay on the field? That's the question.
So I guess it would depend. Well, I'm assuming X-Man's playing linebacker, not DN.
He's playing linebacker, yeah.
Yeah, so it's X-Man, Zoe Carter. You bringing in the speeds to cover, so you probably would go Connolly and Ogletree.
Okay. What about Golden? How does he fit?
See, this is me talking on the July 25th.
Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to figure out how are they going to incorporate all of these parts.
I don't see, like I said, I don't see those guys because they're coming off injury. They've never been known to be great space guys.
No.
A lot of these guys are thumpers or pass rushers. So, part of drafting Connolly was that he was really good in space.
Yeah. He's a good pass protector.
Yeah. So, again, this is just me shooting in the dark answering your question. From a speed perspective and an athletic perspective, you think you would have the X-Man, Carter, Connolly, and Ogletree playing your backers, and then down low you've got. I mean, I don't think that Lawrence is coming off the field, but it'll be more interesting on who plays the front three. B.J. Hill won't come off the field.
Well, the
BJ,
front three, I think you already got it set.
Yeah, Hill, Tomlinson, and
Lawrence.
So yeah,
but then they also signed this guy, another Jersey guy from Arizona, Olsen Pierre.
Yeah, so that's where I was kind of going. Pierre
and they like this guy.
I've heard good things, and
yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to drive at is that Pierre and Golden right now are just the X factor. Nobody knows what they're gonna do, so it could change. But right now, speed wise, youth wise, X-Man, Carter, Ogletree, and Connolly, and then your X factor is as you just said, Pierre and Golden, because no one really knows what they're going to do. You maybe run some of that NASCAR front and drop one of those guys down.
Yeah, who knows? It's a long way to go. Long way to go before they figure all of this out.
Good problem to have, though.
So I just got a message from the Giants. Shepard will be evaluated week to week, but we know you could evaluate him for the next couple of weeks. He's going to be out 2 months. My guess. I'm not a doctor, but I've only been around 58 years on this earth. But anybody who has a fractured hand or a thumb, who uses their hands for a living, you're looking at a good 4 to 6 weeks of healing, and then another 2-3 weeks of rehabilitation. So, what's 2 months from today? The end of September?
September, yeah.
Okay, so maybe they could dry dock him on the 53-man roster for 4 games, rather than put him on the IR for 8 games, and salvage. This won't be as bad as we think. I don't know. Let's hope. Hope for the best.
Seriously, I mean, that's just crummy news. Like, you're like, okay, all excited for camp. Oh, there goes my starting wide receiver. My number one's down.
Yeah. Well, I think what they do in the interim, I mean, there's going to be a mad scramble to take his reps. We'll see who bubbles up. There's certain guys that I like. There's Cody Latimer. He's still around. I like Benny Fowler. People.
You say that every time.
I just like the way the man handles himself, the young man.
Yeah.
He's solid muscle. He's got some speed. He can catch the ball. And, what else is there to a wide receiver? He's reliable.
I'm holding out for the surprise of the century, and Ingram just turns into an animal and just has a breakout season. So, like,
he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah. I'm all over the guy all the time, but I'm being opportunistic right now that he now becomes the guy. I mean, Tate will be Tate.
Listen to this. I said they should make him a wide receiver, Ingram.
Yep.
And then some wise ass tweets me and says, he doesn't get good separation. Wrong. He gets great separation. He is one of the best in the league at it.
Yeah,
they have a stat. I forget what website it's on, where I looked it up, and they said he's one of the best for beating his man off the line.
Oh, the guy's fast. He's not just quick. The guy's fast.
But who's covering him? I mean, if you put a faster guy on him, that may not happen. They haven't been doing that.
Well, no, not as a tight end. Yeah, I mean, he should be able to say, okay, Shepard's down. I'll step in and make those plays. And the Giant and Shermer, with the Achilles heel of Shula, will have to put in a playbook series that Ingram is a focused part of the offense and not the third option.
He's got to stay healthy, first of all. And they've got to use him right away in the first quarter. They can't wait till the fourth quarter to start giving him the ball.
It burns my ass when they do that.
That's what they've been doing with this guy, because he's not in the game plan. I don't think they have a role for him in their offense.
It makes me nuts.
But now with Shepard gone, they could use him as a slot receiver.
And put Ellison in at tight end.
Yeah, that's it. Why not? I like that.
Well, that's why we're the Giants guys.
You
We
have
come
a
up with solutions.
6'3", 245-pound guy that could run a 4.40. Why wouldn't you have him in space?
Well, like I just said, that's why we're the Giants guys. We come up with solutions.
That's it. That's the solution.
We are a solution-based show.
Oh, here's another thing I forgot to tell you. Remmers is starting out at right tackle. He's ready to play.
Really?
Yeah, so he's not going to really have much competition there. If he can stay healthy, it's going to be his job. So that's settled.
I knew George was going to be a little bit of a project, but I thought Wheeler would push him a little bit.
Well, we'll see if that happens, but they're pretty confident. Shermer said today, Remmers is starting out right tackle. He's ready to go. So now you have Remmers and Zeitler working together, and they've been thick as thieves from what they tell me.
I'm assuming he passed his physical.
Yes, yeah. And he wouldn't be on the field if he didn't. Of course, the left side you got Solder and Hernandez. Now the only thing is the center. Is Jalapeno going to come back full strength, or are they going to have to go with Pulley again? Which I wouldn't mind either.
I actually like Pulley, so I'm rooting for Pulley. Not that I don't or dislike Pio. I'm rooting for Pulley because he's got 3/4 of the season last year playing next to Hernandez, and let him just continue with the momentum.
Right. I mean, you got to get some continuity on there, some cohesiveness. So I think they're starting to get that now. Last year, they were a disaster on the right side. Omame and Flowers was like a turnstile.
And then Brown kind of settled them down when he came.
Right. He kind of clogged the middle a little bit, gave them a little respectability, a little semblance of order. The offense was able to settle down a little bit, right? So Zeitler will help them do that. Remmers hopefully will help them do that. And then, the rest is up to Eli. That's it. And the other guys. We'll see how it works out. All right, so we got a few minutes left. Do you have anything to say to the listeners about what's going on with GiantsRush?
Well, yeah, I'm about to roll out. I usually give my main two guys, Mike and Spiro, I give them a year-long assignment, but I let them have fun with it. So we do the film room, which usually is Spiro, and he goes back and watches the game, and he breaks down on who the dog of the week is. We're not really killing the guy for having a bad game, but the film room is about like, hey, this is what's wrong. This is how we can get better next year, next game. And then, of course, Mike does Monday Morning Manning, where he breaks down Eli, good, bad, stats, what he saw that can be improved. That'll all be rolling out shortly. We don't do much in preseason with it, but, we're always cranking out new stuff. And then, of course, Michael Stewart, he's always like looking at like draft stuff and how the draft picks are doing. So, we're a little slow right now, as we mentioned, but you can always fire up your Twitter account and argue with me like you normally do at NYGiantsRush.
Yeah.
I'm always there for a good debate. So this past week, non-Giants related, was about these bogus lists that are coming out about the top 20 quarterbacks. That was a debate this week, and that the Giants are the 28th ranked team in the NFL. And I just basically said, I can't wait for the season to start because I can't take one more ounce or one more minute of Giants hate. Like, our fan base
already more lists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Lots of lists, and the Giants are always ranked at the bottom. And I'm like, I can't stand the lists, and I can't stand the people who write the lists anymore.
I know. I was one of them. At Fansided, it's all you do is lists.
Yeah, but you know what you're talking about. I mean, I just saw a list that ranks the Giants as the 28th ranked power team in the NFL. I'm like, the Giants may have issues, but they're not a flat-out dumpster fire. No. They could have a couple things go their way. Of course, not.
Last year, they lost what? What was it, 8 games by less than a touchdown?
Yeah, and we know that in 4 of those games...
Win half of those games, and what's your record?
Well, and don't forget, they were winning 4 of the games in the end of the fourth quarter, and the defense choked.
Right.
They choked away 4 games. They could have had 8 wins. right?
They could have been 8
So-
and 8. Yeah.
So the Giants aren't a flat out dumpster fire, and I don't get the fan base that like half the fan base wants to blow the team up and just burn it to the ground. Like that's not fans. You know what I mean? Like that's just I need instant gratification, and it makes me crazy.
Right.
And then the other thing was a bogus list that came out somewhere about the top 20 quarterbacks all time, and Aikman, Alex Smith, Carson Palmer, and Tony Romo were on it.
Tony Romo should be on it.
The top 20 of all time?
Well, Carson Palmer has top 20 stats if you look at him. Troy Aikman's in the Hall of Fame. He won 3 Super Bowls. I mean, I could give him. Alex Smith, no, he doesn't belong on it. Even Palmer, he never really won anything. So
All right,
he doesn't know it.
I'm gonna give you real quick. This is in
Just
no
give me
specific
who's on.
order.
Yeah.
Well, again, I didn't rank them, but the list was so bad. I just said that the top 20 quarterbacks of all time in no specific order, regardless of those 4 you named, are always probably going to be close to this, and that's Brady, Montana, Elway, Favre, Marino,
Yep.
Staubach, Bradshaw, Young,
Mhm.
Fouts, Unitas, Moon, Stabler, Peyton Manning, Jim Kelly, Jurgensen, Tittle, Tarkinson, Bart Starr, and then I threw in Breeze, Rodgers, and Big Ben. Now, you can debate 1 or 2 here, but in the top 20, there's no room for Carson Palmer or Romo or Alex Smith. Aikman might be a little on the outside purely because of Super Bowl wins, not stats. I think he had one year.
I thought I saw that list. I thought Sims was on that list.
Sims was on the list. Sims
Yeah.
was like ranked like, I don't know, in the bottom
And
half of that.
Philip Rivers, too, I think.
Yeah, like
I
just,
did
I'm
see
sorry.
that list, yeah.
Yeah, that list was literally some guy
Some
who got
guy
hit in the head.
who's got nothing to do when he decided to, gee, who's the 25 best quarterbacks I ever saw?
I mean, ever saw maybe, but that's not what it says. You know what I mean?
Whatever, that's how you come up with these things.
Because like I've never seen Jurgensen or Stabler. Well, maybe I remember a little bit of Stabler, but Unitas and these guys. But greatness when you watch it,
Right.
or you look at the stats, or you watch it. So that's what's going on with us. We're constantly keeping the fight up that the Giants fans need to unite and kind of just
But here's the thing: when somebody puts a list out like that, the people that read it think it's official. It's coming from somewhere official. No, it's just some guy's opinion.
Yep.
That's all it is. I try to tell people when they say, "Oh, you didn't put this guy on the list." I said, "I never saw him play." Well, you should still put him on the list. No, I can't. I don't know if he was any good. I don't know if Mel Hine was any good.
Well,
Mel Hine was dead by the time I was born.
Yeah, I didn't go that far. I stayed with at least if it was the only one I put on there.
I'm just saying a list in general. People say, "Oh, Babe Ruth was." How do you know? You never saw him. Your grandfather probably never saw him. That's how long ago he played.
Well, that's a little harder because Babe Ruth, that's Babe Ruth, so you have to acknowledge it. Like, well, I never saw Tittle play, and they've got or Tarkenton play. Well, you might have seen Tarkenton play.
I've seen plenty of Fran Tarkenton,
but I've seen Moon play, and I've seen Dan Fouts play.
Yes.
And those guys are great quarterbacks. I'm not putting them in there with Alex Smith or Carson Palmer or Tony Romo. Guys who don't win and just throw the ball a lot aren't great quarterbacks to me.
Well, sometimes the guys make this list because they love a guy like Tony Romo. And they say, you know what? I'm going to stick him in this list. That's why they created the list, so they could put him on it.
Yeah, good point.
I've seen that too. I've always seen that. You know who does that? Yankee fans. They love to do that.
Come on now.
This guy and that guy.
Come on now. Don't let your Met
No. Forget about the Mets. But how many times I've been in bars and stuff, and the Yankee fans they just know Yankees.
Yeah.
There was a guy one time. He says, "I heard you know movie trivia." He says, "I know movie trivia too." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Hit me." He gave me 5 questions about the John Wayne movie, The Quiet Man. Do you ever see that movie?
I have.
Where he's over in Ireland?
Yeah, sure.
That's the only movie this guy apparently ever saw. He's just an expert on The Quiet Man. And I said, This isn't a trivia contest. You just want to talk about the quiet man.
Yeah, right.
So, that's what you have sometimes with these lists. These guys just know one thing, and that's what they want to do. They want to put Tony Romo on the list, or Phillip Rivers, or whoever the hell they like, just to say, he's one of the greatest. Well, that's great. That and 275 will get you on the subway. Who cares?
Not to change the subject on you, but just to reiterate how we started the show talking about Zoe Carter, he intercepted a screen pass today at camp and went the other way.
That's good. Got those long arms.
Yeah, I'm watching it now. Eli flips it out to Barkley, and Zoe Carter steps across and picks it off. It was a nice play.
I'll watch the highlights like 2 a.m. when I get up and I can't go back to sleep. I'll put I'll put the Giants app on, and I'll put the headset on, and I'll watch, whatever it is, Bob Papa's show, the Giants training camp live or whatever. That's when I watch TV in the middle of the night. Because, I have my dogs, and they come up on the bed in the middle of the night. They push me out.
By the way,
they start out in their beds, and by 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm on the floor, and they're on the bed. Like
I'm
Fred
laughing because you
Flintstone.
said, when you can't sleep at night. I'm like, technically, that's you can't sleep in the morning.
Yeah.
3 a.m. Come on now, John. That's the next day.
Yeah, I know. And
you need to hit the couch.
They'll come and sleep on the couch if I come
man.
down and sleep on the couch. They just have to be near me and my wife, the two of them. They'll start out the night in their beds. Good night, everybody. And then the next thing you know, they're staring me in the face when I wake up. That's what a dog owner does, I guess. But, now I got some intensified training going on. It's starting to work, starting to kick in. So there's more obedience going on.
Teach him to throw the Eagles chew toy at him and have him rip it apart on command.
Yeah. Jerry Foley of the Giant Insider, I also write at the Giant Insider, said he was down the Jersey Shore and the Eagle fans were going crazy. Doing the Eagles chant, the EA, they spell out the Eagles. I said, can they spell FOLES? Because that's who they're going to be crying for this year.
Oh, I love it. Funny.
They will be. Because Wentz, to me, I think he's got a lot of talent. But I don't think he has a lot of durability.
Yeah, he does get banged up the way he plays.
I just don't think he's going to make it. And they're going to be looking for, they're going to probably say, you know what, maybe we should have kept Foles. It's hard to keep them both. And there was no way they were going to get rid of Wentz because he's on his rookie contract still, right?
Yeah, first-round draft pick.
But, it's a tough situation that they're in. But I think that Foles is the guy who won it for them, and he knows how to do it. And Wentz is going to have to learn how to do it. And, getting around to the other NFC East teams, the Redskins are using Haskins. I mean, they're going to want to get him in there right away. And I don't know if he's pro-ready. And he also has Eric Flowers playing guard in front of him.
Well, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Well, we don't know if Flowers can play guard. Bill Callahan, he's their offensive line coach. And he said the position change has done wonders for Flowers. So, the Giants never tried him at guard. Maybe they should have.
I don't think the Giants had a chance to play him at guard
No.
yet. They got a lot of pushback.
No, they needed to play him at tackle. And, he can't take on speed rushes. They whiz right past him. Then he starts creating penalties, holds, false starts. It gets in his head. And, he's a complete disaster at left tackle, at right tackle also. So maybe he's better on the inside. Let's see. He's big enough.
I just saw a tweet that says, "Hey, Getty, call Dez."
What do you want him for?
I would go crazy if they did that.
I'm going to tell you right now. From what I understood, and I talked to some people during the draft, the reason why he wasn't signed, he's too slow now. He can't run anymore. He could still catch and he had problems catching the balls at times also, but he can't get separation. They don't think he's got it anymore.
What's the receiver that used to play for the Jets? It happened to him too.
Well, Dallas just cut Allen Hurts.
No, this is like 10 years ago. Keyshawn, that was it.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Johnson. He couldn't get separation after a while.
Yeah, as soon as his legs went, he had great hands, but he couldn't get any separation.
Right. Keyshawn. I mean, he was a great player, but everybody gets old.
Yep.
So, but when it comes to signing a receiver, I don't know if they'll do it. If Shepard's going to come back the end of September, you're going to bring in another veteran. They only got $6.4 million in cap space to work with anyway. And Des Bryant wants a fortune. That's why he's not signed. Nobody wants him.
He needs to retire. It's over.
If he signed for the league minimum, maybe somebody would give him a flyer,
It's over.
Yeah. So that was the word that I got. People keep saying, sign Des. You could cover Des. Right.
No, that might be tough, but yeah, I got you. He's a lot bigger than me.
That's the truth. I had Amani Toomer on the phone yesterday. He's still in pretty good shape. So maybe he'll want to come back.
Oh, too funny. Well, that's all I got, man. I'm out of anything important besides.
I have to write
these updates.
I have to write 2 articles because Dan keeps messaging me, saying we got to get these articles in. What happened was they had press conferences before practice, and then they decided to have some after practice. I don't know why they did that today. They never do that. Maybe because it's the first day. I don't know, but they usually have everybody either before or after practice. They never split it out like that. If they're going to start doing that, Giants beat writers are going to want overtime.
Yeah.
That's a long day, man, because you're there at 10 o'clock. Practice is at 2:45, but you're there at 10 o'clock because at 11 o'clock is when the availability starts. Shermer comes on, and then the players come on, and then, of course, you break for lunch, and then you're going to stick around for practice. Now, there's going to be guys after practice. You're going to have to do those presses, take your notes, go back to the media room, right? And then do, all your articles and get your work in. And you're looking at a 10, 12-hour day. Those guys can't work like that. I know I could probably do it, but, some of these guys are used to working just a few hours, and that's it.
Quick question on the injuries. Is there, looking at another tweet about Slate and Wesley also being down, wide receivers?
Slayton. Darius Slayton?
Slate.
Alex Wesley.
Yeah,
he's on PUP. Yeah, he's on PUP.
Okay.
I don't know what the injury is, though.
So the receivers are getting thin.
Well, he's on active PUP. They can take him off at any time. See, the reason why you put a guy on PUP when camp starts, before camp starts, rather, because then you can put him on regular season PUP. You can't put a guy on regular season PUP if he's not on a preseason PUP. So if there's a guy who has any kind of injury, even if it's a toenail hang or whatever, they put him on PUP because you can always take him off in the preseason. Once the season starts, when you're on PUP, you got to wait 8 weeks. 6 weeks. You got to miss the first 6 games. So those are the rules. So that's why they do that. It's not a big deal. When you're on NFI, which is non-football injury, it's the same thing. There's an active NFI list that they put guys on. That's what Pierre Paul is on now with Tampa Bay.
Oh, yeah, he's always on some type of.
Well, he got in a car accident or something, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's again,
he had a injury. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes the non-football injuries.
Yeah, he's good at that. Yeah.
So Eli Manning had a strong day, going 10 for 13 in passing. Had 1 interception by Lorenzo Carter.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm happy. All right, so we'll be back in a couple of days with another show. And I want everybody out there, thanks for listening to the Giants guys. I know it's been a long time. This is kind of a pop-up show. We weren't really prepared to do a show today, but we soldiered through it. And I'm glad that everybody tuned in, and thanks for listening. Craig, anything?
Nothing, just, buckle up. Giants football's coming.
You got it. Okay, folks, till next time. It's been the Giants guys. Thank you.